What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today, because you guys smashed that like button on the Fire King profile way above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, I'm going to bring you a dedicated combo video showing you 3 different combos for the deck. We'll start off with the basic 1.5 card combo that I've already shown you in a short, but I'll be able to go into a bit more detail on it. Then what I'll do is I'll show you a Tri-brigade version of the combo and how it improves if you do go down that route, and then I'll do a different one for the final combo just so you can kind of see different variations and different ways that the version can be adapted, whether you are playing pure, whether you're playing dogmaticas, or of course when you are playing Tri-brigade. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Diving headfirst into the first combo. So this is the most basic combo you could possibly do with this deck, utilizing Fire King Volcanics plus any fire monster. You'll get more advantage depending on what fire monster it is. Obviously, if it's a Barong, you'll get a Search of a Kirin. If it's a Kirin, you'll get a Destruction Revival. You have so many different options. I'm just going to go with the baseline of treating it as an Ash Blossom. So, you're going to start off by normal summoning your Volcanics. You're going to use Volcanics' effect to destroy the Ash Blossom, in turn allowing you to search out your Ponix. Ponix will then trigger on a new chain to summon itself down, and again, in turn, grab you the Sanctuary. You'll then be able to activate the Sanctuary, which will allow you to grab Fire King Island, activate the Fire King Island, destroying the Volcanics in order to search you out a Garunix. Then on the new chain, you want to go Chain Link 1 Volcanics in the graveyard to special summon out the Garunix from the deck, and then you want to go Chain Link 2 the Garunix to summon itself down. That way you protect the Volcanics from an Ash Blossom. So you summon down the original or the new Sacred Fire King Garunix, and then of course you summon out the Fire King High Avatar Garunix. Again, on the new chain, you'll trigger the Garunix effect to destroy a fire monster in the deck, and this one you're going to want to destroy the Avatar. This will then allow you to trigger the Avatar's effect to bring you back the Volcanics from the graveyard, giving you 4 fire monsters on the board. Now, unfortunately, this combo isn't nib-proof, but in the Tri-brigade version, you'll see how you can play through a nib, and in the final one, I'll show you how you can kind of technically play under a nib, but also try and play around nib as well. So now what you want to do here is you want to link 2 of these together. Usually I use the Volcanics and the original Garunix, but you can use the new Garunix, it doesn't make much of a difference. And what you want to do is you want to go into the Sunlight Wolf. Now, this is where the combo can change. If you have access to an SP Little Knight, what you do rather than going into a Sunlight Wolf is you actually go into an IP Masquerena. And the reason that you can do this is that during your opponent's turn, as you finish this combo, you'll have a way to revive the IP Masquerena. But we're doing this with the baseline that you only have those 2 cards in the hand. In this scenario, again, you can also still get into Unicorn if you do want to go down a route without SP Little Knight, but that will require a discard, and I'm showing you in this combo how you can get that discard back to the hand, or of course in the form of gaining a bit more resource. So what you do here is you'll turn the Ponix into the Anima. Anima will trigger Sunlight Wolf's effect, and this will allow you to add a fire back from the graveyard. So in this scenario, you can add back the Ash Blossom, which just gives you another form of interruption, or it gives you that discard outlet for a Nightmare Unicorn if you were to go down the IP route as well. It really is entirely up to you. It depends on where you'd want to take it, because then rather than going to an Anima, you'd actually use the Garunix plus the Ponix to go into the IP Masquerena, and then you'll need an additional extender to push your plays further forward. But the idea is you're going to add the Ash Blossom back to the hand, and then what you do is you'll put these 2 together and you'll go into the Promethean Princess. You can now use Promethean Princess's effect, and this is the last point that your opponent can interact with a Nibiru, because what you do is you're going to bring back your High Avatar Advata, which gives you that ability to negate a Nibiru should they try to use it. Then for the final move of this turn, you're going to use your Garunix plus your Promethean Princess, and you're going to go into the Amber Whale. Now, the reason we've done it this way is during our opponent's turn, we've got loads of interaction. So whether you want to count Ash Blossom as Ash Blossom, or whether you want to count it as a Kirin or anything else in between, you can do. The idea is at the base minimum, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to go Avatar effect, tribute off the Amber Whale. This will then negate a monster effect. In doing so, you can trigger the Amber Whale's effect, and this is where the IP Masquerena would come into play, because what you'd do is you'd then revive the IP Masquerena. You've already used Advata's effect, you could then use IP Masquerena to go into the SP Little Knight, and that will give you a banish and then another banish. You'd still have an Ash Blossom in hand if you did go down the fire, the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf route. But in this scenario, because we didn't go down to IP, we're basically using this to destroy, and then what you can do is you can bring back a Sunlight Wolf so that if they do summon to this zone, you'll get another form of advantage. But the idea is you could also just bring back Promethean Princess. Wouldn't really get you too much, because the idea is you want to leave this in the graveyard, so you use Promethean Princess's effect, destroy a fire monster, whether it be Avatar or Sunlight Wolf. Obviously, if you do with the Avatar, you're going to get a little bit more advantage off the back of it. Because then you'll be able to summon back the Princess, you'll be able to trigger Avatar's effect. Avatar will obviously allow you to bring back the Volcanics. You'll also be able to trigger the Garunix effect to bring itself back as well because the fire was destroyed, and then you'll be able to trigger a new chain of events where you'll be able to go Volcanics, and then you'll also be able to go into Garunix. So you're going to be able to get that follow-up, so you'll be able to go, okay, cool, search out a new Ponix. You'll be able to use Garunix effect to send a Kirin or destroy a Kirin to then pop a card on the field. So you just gain so much more advantage or so much more disruption. It's absolutely insane. And that's just going to give you so much more. Plus, of course, like I said, you've already recycled back the Ash. You can dump that on your opponent if you want to, and you're still going to have 3 cards in the hand that you're going to be able to utilize later on in the turn because we only used 1.5 to build this board and build this play. Like I said, if you have access to SP Little Knight, you adapt it a bit more. You probably don't go back for the fire add back, and then of course you'll just be bringing back the IP Masquerena. So it gives you a couple of different options should you want to, but I wanted to try and keep these combos budget and just available to everyone because I don't think there's anything in this route of combo that massively breaks the bank, and I think that's kind of a better way of going about it. So now the 2-card Nib protected combo. So we're going to start off with what happens if you don't get Volcanics. Well, you still have access to Ponix. So you can start off by normal summoning the Ponix. This is going to grab you your Sanctuary, which in turn, after activation, will grab you the Fire King Island. You then need to get Ponix in the graveyard, as you are going to need a Fire King in the graveyard, which is why we do have Almirage. Then what you're going to do here is Fire King Island destroy the the Fire King Avatar, which in turn will allow you to grab the Garunix and of course trigger the Avatar's effect to bring you back Ponix. Summoning down the Garunix. Garunix effect will now trigger to destroy that all-important Fire King High Avatar Kirin, which will trigger to bring you back Avatar on your 5th summon. So you are now protected from Nibiru. Now the best thing you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to start putting some monsters into the graveyard, and this is how you're going to be able to set up the IP revival play and lead you into an SP. So you're going to use Ponix plus your Garunix to get you into IP, maintaining a fire monster on the board at all times so that you are protected from Nibiru. Then use IP plus Almirage to get you into Princess, and the best thing about this is it now means Princess can't be Ghost Ogred, which is really interesting. Now use Princess's effect to revive from the graveyard, bring back pretty much any fire monster you want, it doesn't make much of a difference. And then what you do is you're going to link both of these together, and this is going to get you into the Amber Whale. So now what you're going to want to be able to do here is during your opponent's turn, you'll now be able to trigger the Avatar's effect when they activate a monster effect to destroy the Amber Whale. This will then trigger a chain of events. This will allow you to revive the IP Masquerena off of the back of the Amber Whale. Will also be another trigger the Garunix to come back to the board, which means you've always maintained that fire monster on the board for Princess and everything else. Garunix effect will now trigger. This will allow you to destroy anything in the deck. So you can destroy an Volcanics if you want to, which will get you access to the original High Avatar Garunix. Or of course you can just destroy a Kirin, which will allow you to get your Ponix back into rotation. So that if you wanted to, your Princess can pop the Ponix, and this will give you your resource of Ponix coming back to the hand, or you can go for Barong. It really is entirely up to you. The idea is you're maintaining that fire presence on the board so that when you use IP Masquerena and let's say Garunix to get into your SP Little Knight, your SP Little Knight will then of course banish one, and then if your opponent activates another effect, that SP Little Knight will banish itself plus another, and then you still have the ability of going, cool, Princess, destroy either of these. Obviously destroy the Avatar, you get to float another monster back to the board if it's a level 4 or lower, or of course you destroy the Ponix, you maintain this monster negate on the board even during your turn, and this of course will allow you to trigger to add back the Ponix during your standby phase. So the other is you've been able to maintain as much resource as possible. If you do have access to the Raging Phoenix, of course during your opponent's turn you can just go Raging Phoenix and go Aggression, but the idea is you still have so much more resource here, you still got the protection, and you still have those original 3 cards in your hand as well to provide you with a bit more protection. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take you on to the final combo, which is going to utilize and show you the Tri-brigade involvement with this deck as well. So next combo I'm going to show you is the Tri-brigade combo. Now what you need is Volcanics plus Kit, and then any Tri-type in your entire deck, and then any blank. So keeping in mind you're starting with 5 cards, you should definitely be able to fulfill what you are requiring here. So you're going to start off by normal summoning down the Volcanics, you're going to destroy the Kit, and this in turn will trigger the chain of events. So you'll be able to add the Ponix, keeping in mind we're just using this as a blank Tri-type, not directly Ponix, and if you need to, you can just grab any Fire Beast, Fire Tri-type you want to. So then what you'll be able to do is go Chaining 1 Kit, Chaining 2 Ponix to protect the Nerval send in Nerval. You'll then be able to protect whichever one you want. So if you hard opened up Sanctuary or if you hard opened up Fire King Island, then of course you'll protect the Nerval. If not, you're probably going to want to protect the Ponix at all possible because that will still get you a decent out goal. So you'll then be able to resolve this. This will grab you your Sanctuary and grab you your Karaz. You then activate the Sanctuary. This in turn will allow you to grab your Fire King Island, and then you'll activate Fire King Island, destroying the Volcanics, again triggering another chain of events. Add in the Garunix, and then on a new chain, go Chaining 1 your Volcanics to summon out the High Avatar Garunix, and then of course Chaining 2 will be your Sacred Fire King Garunix. Both of those hit the board, and then you're going to want to trigger the Sacred Fire King Garunix effect to destroy a Avatar in the deck. So this will then hit the graveyard, you'll trigger the avatar effect, and this will then bring you back the Volcanics. You'll do the exact same play that you saw in the previous combo, linking those two together into the Sunlight Wolf, and then linking the Ponix into the Anima, triggering Sunlight Wolf's effect to add back a Tri-type from the grave, and we're going to want to add back the Volcanics. This will allow you to put these two together and go into Princess. Before you even consider about using the Tri effects to lock yourself down, you're going to want to use Princess's effect to bring back your High Avatar. This is now the last point that your opponent could possibly Nibiru you, because if they Nibiru you at this point, you'll still have Princess in the graveyard, whereas now you still have protection off of Nibiru because of the Avatar. You'll then link the Garunix and the Princess together, and this will then end the Fire King side of the combo with your Amber Whale. Now at this point here is where you want to use Karaz to summon itself down, getting rid of that Tri-type. Making sure you want to keep one of them in the hand because you will need to summon it, because you need to have a successfully summoned Link monster off of the back of the Tri-brigade in order to get your Shurag during your opponent's turn. So now we're going to cheat out one of the Tri-brigade Link monsters by banishing two from the graveyard, being Nerval and Kit, because these will give us the most resource during the next turn. In doing so, Karaz will cheese out the Ferajit. Ferajit will now use its effect to summon down Volcanics, and now you are locked on only using Tri-types for Link summon, so keep that in mind, that's very, very important. You then want to use Karaz and of course the Ferajit, and this will then get you direct access to the Berbrum. This, of course, if you wanted to trigger the Ferajit to put a card back and draw one, but we're just not going to do that one on this this example. And then you're going to use your Volcanics plus your Berbrum to get you into the Rugal. Make sure you leave a zone free that it points to, because that's where your Shurag is going to need to be summoned. So at this point here, you'll trigger Bearbrum's effect to put the random back to the bottom of the deck and of course grab you the Revolt, and you're going to set the Revolt. So what you've done by adding Kit to the combo and then just a Tri-type and a random blank is this is going to give you the non-target banish off the back of Revolt. You're going to gain back more resource off of the back of Kit and Nerval, and then of course you've got a Revival off of Rugal should you want it, plus everything you saw in the first combo. So to show you how this plays out, you're going to activate the Revolt, which ideally will be the first thing you do. You don't want to be doing it before Princess, because Princess will then Firelock you. You'll bring back the Bearbrum, you'll bring back the Kit, and you'll bring back the Nerval. Then you'll link all of these together to go into a Shurag, which will give you that ability of a non-target banish. You'll also be able to trigger Kit to fill up the graveyard for another one, and of course you'll be able to trigger out Karaz to grab, Nerval to grab you a Fractal for follow-up the next turn should you need it. So you're just going to be able to grab more resource for follow-up to push you into that second Shurag should you need it, or just Karaz being, Fractal being a nice little 1900 mini boss monster. Of course, the next play you're going to want to do after you've done all of this is you have the ability of Rugal to revive from the graveyard. Yes, the effects will be negated, but you'll make sure that you've always got a fire monster on the board because Rugal can just bring it back. Then, of course, you'll be able to use a Varta's effect, tribute off the Amber Whale, and then Amber Whale can revive a Link monster from the graveyard that was successfully summoned, so you can bring back Sunlight Wolf if you want to. And the reason that's quite important is if you do put it into a zone that could possibly go to a zone that your opponent summons, then, of course, you'll get more advantage, or otherwise you can bring back whatever you want. Then after that, of course, you'll use Princess's effect, you'll tribute off anything you need to, so you can tribute off the Volcanics. This, of course, in turn will allow you to pop one of your opponent's monsters, and, of course, you still have the ability to trigger back the Garunix. Now, of course, you still have more to play with, because at the end of the day, if your opponent destroys any of these or any of your fire monsters, you can also bring back the original Garunix, you can send a Kirin, you can pop another card, you can gain more attack. You just have more to keep burning through and more resources to do. The idea was to show you this combo utilizing the Tri-brigade cards to show that it does work, and how the two can kind of work in tandem with the Volcanics destroying the Kit, and of course you still have access for Garunix to destroy the Kit and everything else in between. So that's it for those 3 basic combos, showing you what you do with the brand new Volcanic, showing you how you can be nib protected with the base minimum, and then showing you what the Tri-brigade version can also add to the deck as well, just to give you a bit of an insight of everything else in between. But thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put it in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.